I've only been in real estate 3 years, not even 3 years. $34 million last year, $22 million a year before that, $11 million a year before that. You have the ability to do everything that I'm doing. Everybody does.
Eric Wilkins is a former pastor turned powerhouse entrepreneur. In just 3 years, he's built a $34 million real estate business, founded a full-service media agency, launched multiple ventures, and raised 5 kids along the way. If you think success demands chaos, Eric proves it's all about systems, consistency, and creativity.
The number one thing I kept seeing over and over and over is like, you got to hire the right people.
The stuff that I either suck at
Yep.
or the stuff that I hate doing, get that away from me.
Yeah,
And hire it
absolutely.
out because someone's going to do it better than me, faster than me. They're going to enjoy doing it. Pretty much just have to bet on yourself that you know what the heck you're doing.
80% of all business is marketing. That's the thing that I think people don't do that they should be doing, is consistently posting content just because content is king.
But it's hard to do it. Not a lot of people like the way they look or sound on camera. And dude, people already know how you look. So get over yourself.
There's something about cold calling to me that just, oh man, dear ChatGPT. I would love to go door knocking and cold calling, but I do not want to be salesy, and I want to actually bring value to people. What can I do to do that? Give me 5 ideas. And that's what I would be doing if I would be cold calling.
Tell me that story. Welcome back to Beyond the Trenches. Today we're here with Eric Wilkins. I appreciate you coming in. And like a lot of my friends that have come on the show, I met Eric for the first time in person today. We've been Facebook friends. We've DM'd and texted and all that, but nice to finally meet you. So
Yeah, good to meet you too, man.
yeah, appreciate you coming in. So there's a lot to talk about today. I know you through, at least I learned about you through real estate.
Yeah.
But then starting to like kind of get to know you, I'm like, wow, you got quite a history. You got a lot of companies going. You got a lot of things going on. And so that was one of like my first questions. And I get this kind of too, because I'm in mortgages, but I've kind of dabbled in some side projects and I've done Amazon companies and insurance companies, all this
Yeah.
stuff. People are like, man, how do you find the time? So like just looking at you at first glance, you have 5 kids,
Yep.
you got multiple companies, you're trying to be a husband, you're trying to be a father. Like, how do you handle all that? And how did you get to that spot? So tell me that story.
Yeah, for sure. So initially, before, I was never the guy who was going to be in business ever. That wasn't part of my plan. Wasn't a part of my even my family history. If you look at that, like no one expected this guy to be the one who's doing businesses. I mean, I went to college for kinesiology, like to be a football coach or something. You know, like I had no intent in doing this, but I was working for a church. That's really what got me into, it's going to sound kind of odd, but that's what got me into business, was working for a church, because when I was in my 20s, started working for a church. That's what moved me to this area. And I was doing the music stuff and started dabbling in you get put in charge of everything when you're starting a church. So I was in charge of all the music and the lights and the sound and all the stuff. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just had to learn. And luckily it was in the time that YouTube was becoming more and more of a thing. So started learning school of YouTube. How do we do all this stuff? And eventually I was doing, social media stuff for the church, and just really started getting into that world. And anyway, long story short, started a company in 2016 it was called Green Fox Marketing. Now it's called Vibe Marketing and Media. But because of all of that, because of the church, because of the marketing company, all that, I was doing the marketing company and the church at the same time, and there was just no way I could do everything. And so I just immediately jumped into reading books and all kinds of stuff about leadership and business and all this stuff. And the number one thing I kept seeing over and over and over is like, you got to hire the right people. You got to put people in the right place, put them on the right seat on the bus. And that's what I did. And I did it immediately when I started business, because I just knew if I was going to do this for the long term, I could not burn myself out with doing everything. So the day I started a marketing company, kind of on accident, I ended up hiring somebody, because I was like, I know I can't do all this on my own. So delegation is the biggest thing that allows me to do all the things that I do. And I really, I don't want to get burned out by doing things that I don't want to do. And so the things that I do not enjoy in business, as fast as I can hand that off to somebody, I do.
that is one of the biggest takeaways I've had from talking to a lot of friends and just kind of seeing, hey, how did you rise to this level? And very similar. There's a lot of similarities there, but one of the biggest things is like the stuff that I either suck at
Yep.
or the stuff that I hate doing. Get that away from me.
Yeah,
And hire it
absolutely.
out because someone's going to do it better than me, faster than me. They're going to enjoy doing it.
Yep.
And so, but it's hard though at first, especially when you're starting your own business, because obviously capital and all, you're like, well, dude, this is a big leap of faith for me
Yeah.
to hire an employee or two employees or whatever it is. And so, you pretty much just have to bet on yourself that you know what the heck you're doing.
Yep.
And so that's kind of similar. Like, but it's funny. There's something must be in the water of being a pastor, because I don't know if you know Kyle Draper, but he was on here and he started as pastor and then went into roofing.
Yep.
And then eventually went into marketing and social media coaching and et cetera. And now he's got multiple businesses. And so I think the root of that, though, is you kind of hit on is marketing.
Yeah.
I have found that the best people, whether they're in whatever, I mean, sales is the kind of the backbone of mortgages, of real estate. Technically, we're in sales, right?
Right.
It just happens to be. But the people that do really well are the people that understand marketing at its core.
To me, marketing is it is the ultimate leverage piece in anything, and that's why people are all the time asking me like, man, you're how are you doing? Like exactly what you said, like how are you doing all this stuff? How are you da da da? And the biggest leverage piece that I have is the marketing company. I get asked often, hey, would you be willing to sell your business, sell your media company? And I'm just no. I mean, it is the leverage piece that I have to do all the other things around that I'm able to do, because that at the end of the day, that's what I always use the 80% rule. It's 80% of all business is marketing. I mean, that's what it is. It's the marketing of your business that allows you to do what you can do. And so I feel like it may sound kind of strange, but I feel like I can go into I can learn how to do a business pretty quickly.
Right.
Learning how to do marketing is not that quick. It takes a little bit more time to really understand the psychology behind it and all that kind of stuff. But a business you can learn pretty quick, and that's why I feel like I'm able to just, sure, we can launch that kind of business. If there's a need there, let's go launch that business, because I can learn how to do the business pretty quick, or put the right people in the right seat who know it well, and then we just bring this marketing hammer behind it. And that's kind of been the strategy.
Yeah. And that's something that I'm quickly realizing that I need to work on and continue to work on. So similar paths, like I jumped in from oil and gas engineer to mortgages. Like no,
that's a big
jump,
big shift.
My wife is like, because I'm the only one that brings in income. She stays home with our boys, and she's like, you know what you're doing, right? Because that's a 100% commission job. I'm like, oh yeah, well I know what I'm doing, and I did. Like I knew how to talk to people. I knew how to educate people around different loan programs. I knew that. I knew I was going to be, but the marketing piece, I had no idea.
Right.
And so that's something that I think it's just trial and error at first. Like, hey, I'm going to try video. I'm going to try billboards or whatever it is. And then you quickly realize like what works and what doesn't work, or what you like and what you don't like.
I think it's trial and error always.
Well, yeah, let's be honest.
I don't know that it ever is.
Let's be honest.
This is it. This is the exact way to do it. It's more just like, I'm going to keep trying this, and when this thing works, I can't just hold on to that being the only thing. There's got to be something else, because eventually this won't work anymore.
Yeah, well, there's got to be. You're right. In different audiences resonate with different ways, but there's got to be kind of a core to it, to your marketing. And so because whoever's watching on here, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in sales, whether you're a teacher who's thinking about jumping into sales, like whatever it is, and you want to market yourself, like talk to us about some of the core concepts that you built your company around.
Yep. Consistency is the number one. I know it sounds a little cliche at this point, probably with people saying it, but there is something in the boring that is just the thing. And I know it's like people are always looking for this next new idea, this next new thing. And I am too. I'm one of those guys that do that. I'm like, what can I do in this video? What can I do I was talking to one of my builder clients this morning, and he's building this really nice home. It's going to be awesome. And he even said something. He was just like, oh man, that steam shower. I already see you making a video with the steam shower, and you're coming out and that's your intro to the video. And I'm like, that's actually not a bad idea. I think I might use that, but like constantly looking for these ideas, but it's not those big ideas that are making the difference. It's a Wednesday today, and I'm going to post on social media because it's a day of the week, and that's just what I do. I just every day post something, continue. Like this morning, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go do a podcast. This will be cool. I'm gonna do a little day in the life. Started filming. Like, haven't posted anything yet, but I will. By the end of the day. And I got a listing photo shoot, video shoot after this. I'm heading straight to that, and I show up to every listing video shoot and photo shoot. When a lot of agents aren't doing that these days. A lot of agents are just like, hey, my photographer will be there, da, da, da. I show up every time because I have 2 photographers, 2 videographers. They're both shooting everything. I'm also shooting things behind the scenes, doing all that, just because content is king. It just is. You get the more content you can get on a property or what you're doing. That's the thing that I think people don't do that they should be doing, is consistently posting content. That's one half of it. But the other half of it is just consistently getting content that you can use at any moment. If you only come in with one thing and you're like, okay, I'm paying my videographer to go make a video, and that's what I'll use to sell that house. Well, that's great for day 1 when you list it. What about day 8 when it's still on the market? Day 20 when it's still on the market? Day 40 when it's still on the market? What content do you have to be able to do it without calling your people again and be like, hey, I need to come film another video because I don't have enough, So just constantly doing that and being consistent with that.
So at the root of that is discipline. And I tell similar loan officers that join the company, join my team, they're like, oh, dude, you're crushing it. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I hate to disappoint you. It's not rocket science.
Yep.
What we do,
yeah,
it really isn't, but it's the discipline to being consistent and showing up. Like, hey, I know I should be making content. Yep. I know I should be doing videos. But it's hard to do it. Not a lot of people like the way they look or sound on camera. And Kyle Draper, who I mentioned before, this is like his whole pillar.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, people already know how you look. They already know how you sound. I hate to break it to you, but you look the way you look, you sound the way you sound. So get over yourself.
Yeah.
And get out there, because you have an important message and you have your education, or you're a master at your craft or whatever it is, and you need to share that with people.
Yeah.
So get over yourself. And so he's really helped me. Heck, there's a reason why I'm on camera right now talking to you. And so consistency for sure is kind of like the backbone of that. And it's funny because you got to figure out how to separate yourself too, right? And just not blend in. And so perfect example. Yesterday I made this really stupid video of like some AI effects freezing me because it's like hot out. Okay. Really. And my wife saw that. She was like, please tell me you're not posting that.
I thought it was great.
No, she's like, that is so cringe. And she's right. It was cringe.
Yeah.
But to my point and to your point, I can make a video, like the best video on VA loans or whatever mortgage product, and I might get like maybe one person reach out to me and be like, hey, can you talk to me about this or whatever? Maybe.
Yep.
I got like 6 text messages instantly from, some of my friends, and like, oh my God, you're an idiot, or that's so cool. How'd you do that? So that just shows you anything that's different, no matter how dumb it might be, cringe it might be, you at least should try it.
Yep.
So that's a huge takeaway for anyone that's listening or watching, is like, get over yourself and don't be afraid to try something new.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not the biggest thing for me with all of that is the last thing you said is 6 people called you about this or contacted you or whatever. And regardless if that had anything to do with what you're trying to sell, what you have to your product, your service, whatever, it's people just being able to relate with you. And that's what it comes down to, is like, if you're a relatable person and you're able to put that relatability out to the masses via social media, that's what it's for, and people know that you're in a certain industry, that's where you gain the trust from. That's where it's like, man, this guy's just a normal guy, a normal girl, whatever, and this is the person that I want to do business with. When it comes around to that, not everyone's selling a home every day. I mean, that's just not, it's just not happening. Like, you have people in your life that they're going to sell their house once every 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and at some point you'll be the guy. But in the meantime, just how can you be relatable? Because right now, if I'm not interested in buying a house, I don't want to hear a thing about a loan product. I don't want to hear a thing about, the housing market. Like, I don't care about any of that. But what I do care about is like, oh man, that was funny. That guy jumped in a pool, like, with his clothes on. Like, that was hilarious. Like, whatever. Even if it's just little things like that, but it's like, man, when I sell my house, I'm gonna call that guy. When I need a loan, I like that guy. He's funny. Like that. That is what matters. And so that's why, like me, you'll hardly ever see me post like here's a market update and you need to do this. Like, I'll maybe once a quarter might bust out something like that. But for me, it's just, I'm marketing houses, and people seeing me market houses, that's what people go, oh, I need you to market my house one day. And that's it.
Because you're standing out.
Yeah.
You know, you're not, and this is not a diss at people that give market updates. Or there is room for that in a certain audience, but I'm with you. Especially loan officers, I'm sure you have no shortage of them calling you, trying to take you to coffee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
Yep.
Like, I'm never going to cold call a realtor. That's just not how I do business. I want to gain their trust through video content or through an actual transaction. And when they get to the end of it, they're like, dude, Jay knows what's up. Like, that was actually a very easy process. Like, anytime I get another client, I'm going to talk to him. And so that's the way I just try to do my business. But to your point about like standing out, a perfect example. So I got to give one of my guys on my team a shout out. His name's JD Kameen. He's I won't hold it against him. He's a Naval Academy graduate. So, we have a bunch of Army guys on the team, but he's a Navy guy. But anyways, he took a different approach. He built an Instagram channel. He quickly gained like 27,000 followers in like 6 months. And you look at his content, he's not talking about mortgages. He's just being himself.
Yep.
And just filming his life, whether he's like eating Chick-fil-A every day or pulling his hamstring, doing the splits at a wedding, and like his wife getting mad at him, like just all that type. But it makes him really like, dude, this is a relatable guy. And here we are talking about him on a podcast, not because he's the best mortgage lender in America or he knows the most guidelines or whatever. It's because he's relatable. He's funny. And he stays top of mind with his audience. And so whenever, you're right, whether it's 6 months down the road, 12 months down the road, whenever they're in the market to actually, hey, I want to buy a house and I need a loan, they'll think of him.
Absolutely.
And so I think that is what's going to separate, especially now. So let's transition to kind of the future of real estate. As you know, interest rates are higher than where we want to be right now. AI is in the picture. Stuff's like rapidly changing. And so what are you kind of doing to help future-proof your business, and what does the next 5 years of Vibe Realty look like?
Yeah, for sure. So we are diving into AI big time, as much as we possibly can for all kinds of stuff. So like I work a lot in the new construction space and developments and things like that. And so we're currently building different things with AI and just we're working on. We're figuring it out like everyone else. I mean, it's all just no one's. There's a few experts, you could say, but it's all new to everybody, you know. And so locally, in these like people like us, people that you run into, like there's gonna be some people who know it a little bit better than others because they've been spending a little bit more hours than you, but it's all brand new, and so the world is wide open. But we're trying to figure out from a media perspective, because we partner our media company with real estate. That's what we do. That's what got me into real estate. I had the marketing company. I was working with builders and developers to build their websites and run their social media and do all that kind of stuff. I was doing everything to make them money except for sell their houses. And I was like, man, I am missing out on a big piece of this by not being able to sell their houses. So that's what got me into real estate. And so we're trying to think on the back end of that is like, how can we be a tool? What can we create with AI that can be helpful to these builders, to these developers, to, and it could be, there's lots of things we're building. I can't really talk about them at the moment, but I'll give you another example. So speaking of starting businesses, I haven't even said this. I'm going to say this first time on your podcast.
Right.
We are, I'm starting a pool company. And so with a couple of guys, and again, same thing. Guy who's really skilled, been doing it for 30 years. He's awesome. He's really the guy,
right, Right.
I'm still trying to what's the name of that? Saltwater pool. That's it. Like I'm still in that kind of phase, but this guy's the guy. I'm kind of on the business side. And then we have Kelsey. She's awesome. She's running all the back end stuff. And so, we're doing this, but one of the things we're trying to do from a technology standpoint is, I don't know how to, when I built my pool, I had no idea how much it cost. No clue how much pools cost. No concept. I mean, they could have said 40,000 or they could have said 400,000. I'd be like, what's normal?
Yeah.
And so as I started looking into pool companies, everybody was like that. Nobody puts their pricing front facing. And I think it's because there's not really a technology like a pool it can be 60,000
Right.
or 600,000. It just depends on what you want. And so I mean, within 30 minutes of being on AI, built a calculator out that is forward facing that can, you just click on, I want this size pool, and I think I want these kind of bubblers, and I want those kind of, lights and whatever. And it's automatically building your thing out. And that was all built by AI and literally in 30 minutes. And that's something we would have had to pay 15, 20 grand for to get a coder to code a calculator like that just a year ago. And it's like, man, that's crazy. And so there's something to that we can also do with builders, developers, real estate in general. I'm working on some things right now, and I'll share these, but like with my own stuff of like how can people move to Granbury a lot, the town that I live in and I focus on a lot, because it's a tourist town and they come and they visit and but it's very much split into developments. So there's neighborhoods all over the place. They're big chunks of neighborhoods, but no one really knows like, well, what's that neighborhood like? Like,
Yeah.
is it kid friendly? Is it this? Is it that? And so having one of those calculators where it's not just a calculator, it's more of a questionnaire of like, hey, what type of neighborhood are you interested in? What do you want? These amenities? Do you not want amenities? Do you want land? Do you not want land? Do you want big house? Do you want small house? You just answer these questions, and then via AI, it pulls up. Here's the 3 top neighborhoods that you might enjoy, and then it's like, boom, you might like this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood. Click here for listings in that neighborhood. Click on that, pulls up the listings for that neighborhood. So that's like, again, that's all built with AI within minutes. It's not even
Yeah.
something that, it's just crazy what AI can do. And so I think that being creative on that side, that front of thinking, how can I use this technology that's in front of us to help my business, not necessarily, people always think like leads. How can I get more leads? How can I get more leads? How can you be a resource to people is the question that I would be
Yeah.
asking. And
That the leads will come.
yeah.
If you can provide a valuable resource
Yep.
and make it easy to digest and easy to understand, then that helps with the trustability scale, which is at the end of the day is what people do business with, who they know, like, and trust.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I'm not an AI. It sounds like you're ahead of me by far, but I'm trying something new
Yeah.
as well, is because I think it's right. Is people are like, oh, AI is going to replace you. I'm like, AI is not going to replace a realtor or a loan officer. It will replace the loan officers who are not using it.
Correct.
The loan officers that are utilizing it are going to replace them. And so you're familiar with house hacking. For the audience that doesn't know, house hacking in the mortgage world is essentially buying a 2, 3, 4 unit property, living in one of the units, renting out the others. And that basically the revenue from that pretty much offsets most of your mortgage. And so
I wish I could go back and do that
yes,
like 5 times. And then,
oh my gosh, especially and I had the greatest tool when I was active duty Army. I had the VA loan.
yep.
And so when I got down to Fort Hood, one of my buddies bought a fourplex, and he lived in one and rented out of it. You know what I bought? I bought a freaking BMW 3 Series.
That would be my problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was 22, 23, whatever I was. Like my first cool car. And
Yep.
if I could go back in time. So what I'm doing is scraping, Zillow or Realtor listings.
Yep.
For house hacking candidates,
Okay, yep.
pulling that into an email, and it automatically analyzes, hey, based on your BAH, based on potential rent, like here's what those numbers look like,
Yep.
and putting it into a daily email that people can sign up for.
Love it.
And I'm like, dude, that's cool.
That is cool. Yep.
And it's normally you and I would have to go on there and do all that. It would take hours to like scour it, and it's literally doing it behind the scenes
Yep.
and putting it into an email for me. So I haven't launched that yet. So that's my
Yeah.
one thing that I've been working on. It should be out in a couple of weeks. Seeing some of the developers, he's like, I can easily do that. And I'm like, I didn't even know this was. He was like, and I was like, what about a dashboard that the listings come in and I can check it out and kind of he was like, yeah, I can do that. He had it built in like 30 minutes
Wow.
using
Yep.
AI.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is wild.
It is
This
wild.
is wild.
And that's the thing with like all of that. We talk about this a lot too, and because marketing media companies, those are the ones that are at risk, for losing clients, just getting smaller because all these people. I mean, before you had to hire, before Canva, you had to hire a graphic designer to do something. Canva comes around, all these other Adobe, different things that are a little bit more user friendly come around, and people start using those, but they still didn't get to the like what they're trying to do. But now when you can just type in the words, please create me this, da, 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 da. Please, I'm always nice to my AI. You never know, man. You got to be nice to
No,
those
you
guys.
never know.
Yeah, please. So you're typing in your prompts and you're like, hey, this is what I need you to create. This is hilarious. I'm in we went on a mission trip overseas, and we're there, and this guy that lives there, he's awesome. He goes to our church and he has a property there, and he kept saying something about like starting these businesses. So every time he would mention something that he's whatever, his wife was like, "Oh yeah, he loves making salsa," and his name was Thomas, and I was like, "AI, make me a logo for his name. What was it? It was like a really hot salsa." So I was like, I need a name for a business for a really hot salsa made by Thomas, and it said, no, we were in a Spanish country. No mas tomas, and I was like, "That's genius."
This is good.
'Cause it was like no mas, like it's too hot, like
Too
no
hot,
mas
no
tomas.
mas.
And then so I was like, "Make me a graphic based on this," and then so it pulls up this graphic, and it's like literally. I took a picture of him real quick.
Yeah.
I said, "Make me a graphic with his face on it." Boom, no mas tomas is it, and it's just like, I mean, he was mind blown. You should have seen him like running around the house, like, "Oh my gosh, I just created a business. This is incredible. I'm gonna make this salsa, put this on the thing." I mean, and this was just for fun, you know. I mean, much less what can you do to like really move the needle. It's there, it's coming, and it will exactly what you said. It will AI won't replace the people necessarily. People using AI will replace people not using AI,
Yep.
and I think it's going to come in a way that we are not expecting it to. And so like I'm not. People are, you got a lot of people that are like scared. I'm not scared. I'm just concerned that I'm going to be behind the ball if I don't stay up with it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like I have to listen to stuff about it every day, or else I'm going to be
Well-
behind. I was listening to Gary Vee, and you're
Yep.
familiar with Gary Vee. So I was listening to him, and he was talking about AI and all the things, and he's like, people got to stop saying that AI is not going to take jobs. He goes, do you know how many people in New York used to be hired, their job, there's tens of thousands of them over time to pick up horse poop on the streets of New York, because that's how they traveled, was via horse, and people had to clean that up.
Mm-hmm.
That was their job. That was what they had. And then the car got invented. And so when the car got invented, think of all the jobs that were lost because of the vehicle.
Right.
And you would have never, those people thought they would have had a job forever.
Forever.
They would have had that job forever. And then the vehicle was invented that was not even a thought to anyone. And so that's the part of like all of this stuff with AI that I am very interested to see where it goes, because even real estate, I'm like, man, what is going to happen to realtors? What is going to happen to mortgage loan officer? Like, what is the transition there? You
Right.
know, he talked about tractors too. Like tractors, that when tractors came around, I mean, all these people that were working on farms, 80% of the world, is what he said. Again, just going off what he said, 80% of the world was in farming. And then the tractor came around, and,
Yep.
and each tractor replaces like 20 people or more, you know, I mean, like just by doing that. And so we don't know. I mean, we don't know what this is going to look like, but there's still going to be people that run the thing. You know,
Right.
the tractor came around and somebody had to learn how to run that tractor. The vehicle came around and someone had to learn how to drive it, how to
Right.
continue to build it, how to continue to evolve it and do all that kind of stuff. And so that's where I'm at, is like, what is this going to look like in the future, and how can I be on the forefront of it, whatever it is?
Yeah, you're right. And nobody truly knows.
Yeah,
And so in the meantime, I'm trying to use it as like a tool to, I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Martell. He has a book called Buy Back Your Time.
Okay.
Like basically, so that's what I'm trying to do with AI. I'm like, stuff that would normally have taken me 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, like, how can I buy back my time, whether it's a research project or whatever, and it can do it within seconds.
We better all be 10 times more efficient this year than we were last year.
Yeah.
I mean, we should be.
The slippery slope, though, is it's so good and so fun.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself going down rabbit holes.
For sure. Making no mas tomas
Yeah,
salsa
exactly.
logos.
I'm like, my wife walked in and I was researching like a micro resort Airbnb cabin. I think I actually texted you about it.
Yeah.
And she's like, is this a thing, or like you're just going down a rabbit hole? I'm like, right now I'm just going down a rabbit hole, but it could be a thing. I'm like, she's like, when you just get back to mortgages, Jay. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Your listings are amazing, and then you've also done a development. So
Yep.
in Granbury, talk to me about like, how did you like go search? You're like, hey, I want to do a development, or did it land in your lap because of like the marketing that you do?
Yeah.
Like, how do you transition into that?
Yeah, for sure. So we've got a couple of developments. We've got Granbury, Godley, Toller, and then oddly enough, all the way out in East Texas, Cedar Creek Lake. And
Okay.
so, but yeah, so when I got into development stuff, it was one of those. The first one I was working with was this guy in Toller. He was a client of mine at the marketing company. He worked for a different company, and then all of a sudden he got into building. And so he told me about it one day. I was like, "Hey, we're doing a development thing, and we're gonna build our own houses, and it's gonna be really cool." And I just got into real estate. Like I was fresh, and he was like, "Man, you think you could do some of your marketing stuff, but like for the development, for for our houses and all that?" And I was like, "Oh, for sure. Like that's it's just like a business, you know. Like
Mm-hmm.
if we brand your development and we build the website and we sell the homes and do all that kind of stuff. We build your brand because he didn't have a brand for his business yet, his builder business, um, and so that's kind of what got me into it. Was just like this all makes sense. Like if we can just be the team, because that's the thing. It's like I don't like if I can work with just a few people, it just makes it easier. If I've
Right.
got my go-to, like, okay, these guys got all that, and I don't have to talk to 10 different people. I can talk to one person, and they can do all those things. I'm going to prefer that.
Right.
And so that's what we did going into the developments was, hey, we can manage all of this for you. We can manage your builds, your website, your blah 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 blah. And the way we worked it out was like, hey, if you just make us your people, I've got the team that can do it. So just make me your main sales guy. The one who does all the listings, all
Mm-hmm.
the everything out here. And as long as we can work out some sort of a commission deal where it's like, hey, we get commission on every deal, then we'll do all this at no extra cost to
Right.
you. Like we'll just make it a part of what we bring to the table. So that's what we did there in Toller, and then after that, somebody saw that one and was like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
see you doing all this work for this development. Can you do our development?" I was like, "Sure, I'd love to." Actually, the next one was already branded and everything, which kind of makes it interesting because it's really hard for me to sell a brand when I don't love the look of the brand. So it's like, can we redo your brand? Is that okay? But anyway, so we got in that one, jumped in, sold that one. It's been great. We got one lot left, literally just yesterday. We had the last one. So, and then we got the Stewart Ranch deal. That was another builder client. I was selling his homes, and he was like, "Hey, we're gonna be doing this development in Granbury. It's called Stewart Ranch. We don't have anything. I mean, we need website, logos, signs. I mean, we need everything. What can y'all do?" And same thing. It's like, man, just make me your guy, and we'll do all that in the background and at no additional upfront cost. Like it's not going to cost you anything.
Right.
Whereas normally, if you go and you're just starting a development, you're like, okay, I got to go get a website built. I got to go get this done. I got to get this done, and it just costs a lot of money up front when we just make it a part of our integration to what we do.
That's really cool. And I love that you stated like, hey, if I'm going to do this, like I want to do it my way.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
because that's the reason why we're having this conversation anyways, because
Yeah.
you obviously trust me or you like me. So let me do it my way and just let the results prove themselves, which they obviously had. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So out of like developments and then like single family, like residential listings and then commercial listings, those are obviously three kind of different categories. Is there one that you like more than others
I think new construction homes is probably my favorite thing. That's probably my favorite just because people just like new. I mean, they like the way new technology in houses, just new things that they're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
A lot of homes that we see are they're just kind of the same thing over and over and over. But new construction, especially out in the areas that I sell in, they can be really cool. I mean, really cool, especially the one like we got the one I was talking about in Cedar Creek Lake. Those are awesome new construction homes. That's Litchfield and Taylor's the builder out there, and those it's called the Groves is the development, the Groves at Cedar Creek, and they are $3 million houses. I mean, new construction, like they are on the water, beautiful. Like I just want to go out there and just sit and make videos because it's like, man, this place is so cool.
I think you were out there a couple weeks ago.
I was, yeah.
right. I remember seeing that, and
Yeah,
I remember thinking, like, where the heck is
Yeah,
the area?
we did a big grand opening thing.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That is cool. So that's a testament. I mean, the fact that obviously there's probably people locally or at least closer to the development that they could have reached out to.
Yeah.
But they reached all the way out to you in Granbury.
Yeah, so the one in Cedar Creek Lake, that one was awesome. They reached out to me, so I actually get this message from this guy John, and he's like, "Hey, I got this development. It might be kind of far away from you. It's in East Texas. I want to see if you want to come talk to me about this development." And we're a builder and blah blah blah. And anytime I see that and it's like something far away like that,
Yeah.
first of all, there's a lot of sketchiness that happens in real estate, and so I constantly, as a real estate, I mean, I have walked away from so many deals, so many builders, so many developments, like just like I can't be a part of it because I just don't like the way it's being done,
Yeah.
like it's just not, doesn't align with me and my values. And so, anyway, I see this and I'm like, oh man, I got to look this guy up. I don't know,
Yeah.
And of course I go to his website and it's like the first house on there is literally a house that caught the property. He built this house and it was $16 million. And I'm like, this
This is
is a fraud. Like, what are we doing here?
I'm getting catfish.
I
or
am.
whatever.
I'm getting catfish. That's exactly what I'm like. Man, I'm on MTV. That's not good. And so I end up looking a little bit more, looking deeper, and I'm like, nope. This guy's on the school board of the Maybank, Texas down there. I'm like, I guess it's legit. So I go down to meet with them, and he's like, yeah, I don't know how we got connected on social media, but I always see your stuff. Like you're always working with new construction builders, and you're doing developments and stuff, and it just seems like that would work with what we're doing. We're trying to grow our building side more. We're trying to grow these developments, and long story short, they ended up hiring us to come in and do this, and it's been awesome. It's a really, really cool new development that we would not have gotten the opportunity to be a part of without social media. I mean, it's literally just, and again, I don't have any ads running that say, please hire me as
Right.
your real estate agent. It's just consistently posting every day and just sharing, like, this is what I do in real estate. Like, this is what I do, but I'm not even saying like, this is what I do. It's just literally marketing for my clients, and other people see that marketing and they're like, man, we gotta call this guy.
I hope people watching this are truly listening and it's resonating and hitting home, because this is the common theme throughout this is marketing yourself and just being consistent, because you never know. Look at this opportunity that landed in your lap, that it was so good that you had to like second and triple guess yourself.
was
They're
this
like, wait a
legit?
minute, because this seems way too, and it happened because of your social media strategy, because you're putting out content.
Yeah.
And I was a victim of that myself. I'm like always delaying, always giving myself a reason why to like, oh, well, I don't have the right camera yet. I don't have the right microphone yet. I don't have the right setup yet. I don't know what to talk like. And so you just keep kicking the can down the road.
Yep.
Whereas, imperfect action is better than any action.
Absolutely.
Just start, dude, it can be just you on your cell phone. If you're providing value, if people are resonating with what you're saying and you don't come off just salesy and like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yep.
And so I try to tell my team that, especially the newer ones that are just getting started, I'm like, guys, just get on social media, get on video. And so Kyle Draper gave me this idea. Yeah, I think that there's like an app called like Marco Polo. The ones that are not comfortable on camera, as me as their as their boss, I'm like, hey, if you have a question, you can't text me.
Yep.
You have to record yourself asking the question, and then text me that video and I'll respond back. And so eventually over time it becomes like muscle memory. They get used to talking.
That.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so it's they're like, you serious? I'm like, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious, because I'm not perfect on camera either. So it gives me a chance to practice. And so
I really love that. I'm writing that idea down. Man.
yeah,
Got it.
I think there's an actual app because right now we're just texting in, and obviously I'm like, well, it can be like 720p or 1080p. It doesn't have to be 4K, and you're sending me like a 2
That's
gigabyte
hilarious.
like freaking text message. But that, I just want people, if you're listening, like, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, marketing is the backbone, and it doesn't have to be paid ads. It doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah.
It just has to resonate and provide value.
Yep.
And be authentic.
Yeah.
Like, I
100%.
couldn't do what you do because that's like you. That's just not. It's not me.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
vice versa. Like, be yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is people with, it's been interesting owning my own brokerage. Okay. So one of the hardest parts has been, I've talked to a lot of agents about, being a part of our team. And what I hear often is like, I can't do what you do. Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want you to do that. If you tried to do that, yeah, it probably wouldn't work. Like, that's just not different people do different things. We do have a guy on our team that is a cold calling son of a gun, and he has his book out with like if they say this, then you say that, and it works. It works for him. I would die if I had to do. I mean, literally, I would. There's something about cold calling to me that just, oh man, or cold walking, door knocking, or whatever. This guy yesterday comes to our office. This is incredible. So at our office, I'm just gonna go ahead and just get it all out there. At our office, we have a huge window in the front. And in that huge window, we can see anytime somebody pulls up, and and one of the spaces is a big co-working space. So there's 1, 2, 3, 8, 9 desks right there, or whatever. Well, when someone comes up that we know is trying to sell somebody something, we all go into the mode of like, not it. I'm looking at this water. Somebody else has to get it. Just like it, because we just know what this is going to be, And this guy, he walks in. Poor guy, and of course Jordan, she's awesome. She's like our bubbly office person. She's always the one that ends up taking it because she's just that. She's just like, hello, how are you? Whatever. The guy he goes, I brought you some papers, and he's turning out the door to walk out and handing her papers, and walks out the door, and it was sales papers for like a neighborhood or whatever, but it was like. What just happened? What was that? Like, what do you think is going to be the result of? First of all, we're already dying. Like, we're already like, oh no, here comes someone to sell us something. Right. And I guess that works with some people, maybe, but there's just a better way. And like, to me, it's like, I would rather face this camera when no one else is in the room with me, and just get over the fact that like we're not in high school anymore. Like. No, I can't remember the last time I saw a video and I'm like, oh, they look stupid. Like, I just don't do that. No one does that. It's just like, hey, they made a video. Like, whatever, it's like, but in our minds, we have this whole, like, I'm going to look awful. My hair isn't right. My chin is doubling. My whatever it is that's like, oh my gosh, I made a comment before we started. I was like, hey, make sure, like I'm just like, everybody's got these things, but it's like, you got to just get over it. Just go with it. Like you said at the beginning, everyone knows what you look like already. Like, you're just, everyone knows.
And anybody that slings the hate in the comments or trolls you, whatever, at the root of the reason why they're doing that, because they're insecure with themselves.
Absolutely.
They got something going on.
Yep. And they're mad that they're not doing it.
Exactly.
They're like, I should be, but I'm not.
That is and y'all's, I was in some of the real estate groups on Facebook. I had to get out of there.
Oh, they're brutal.
They are brutal. I thought loan officers were bad. Y'all are like, take it to the next level.
It's the worst.
The amount of pettiness and hate. And it's usually that. It's usually they're like, somebody's crushing it and they're just trying to knock them down to make them feel better about themselves.
Yep.
So I try to limit that. I Facebook and social media and Instagram, it's great. But at the same time, it's also horrible.
Absolutely. You gotta pick your lanes and figure out what is working for you and what's not. And it can be rough for sure.
Yeah. And so that's really cool that you gave that story about somebody coming in and trying to market themselves, trying to do something. So I don't want to like just totally bash on that, because there are people out there that especially newer agents or newer loan officers. So if they're going to go down that route, if they're going to stop in and cold call and stop in an office, what is something that does work? Or at least like, hey, if you're going to go down this route, do this.
For sure. Bringing value is always going to be the thing that moves the needle. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, so you're right. Lenders reach out all the time. Title companies reach out all the time. They do the whole, hey man, let me take you to coffee. And like, it's really, it puts us in a weird position, because here's the position it puts us in. I know that when that person reaches out to me, they're trying to get my business, which is, I get it. I mean, that's right. Yeah. That's what you're trying to do. But I also know that like my schedule's slam packed, and to go meet with someone for an hour over coffee or or whatever it is, it's not the best use of my time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're somebody I've never met, never seen, never heard of, you just randomly calling me, can I take you to coffee? And I'm like, man, I got a lot of other things I could be doing with that hour. But When you reach out and you're like, hey, you want to be on a podcast? That immediately brings value to me, like, because it gets a content opportunity for me.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I could content. Great. I love content, you know? So it's not, you haven't asked me, you haven't said a word about, hey, you know, like, call me if you have a loan that needs to be done. You didn't do it before. You haven't done it now. I assume when we're walking out, you're not gonna be like, hey, and just don't forget I do loans. Like, I know, like, you know, I know. But what I will remember is like, man, I like that guy. He brought me value. We had great conversation. He's a normal guy. I don't feel like he's trying to sell me something. Like, all of those things matter, you know? And so the door knocking piece, the cold calling, whatever, is, I would be figuring out, and the best way to figure it out is, dear ChatGPT, I would love to go door knocking and cold calling, but I do not want to be salesy, and I want to actually bring value to people. What can I do to do that? Give me 5 ideas. I guarantee you it's going to be, at least one of those ideas is going to be something you haven't tried.
Yep.
And it's going to be better than anything you've ever thought of. And that's what I would be doing if I would be cold calling. So it's using AI to figure out how to get better at this. Because if you're going to do it, fine, figure out how to get better. And that's me. It doesn't matter what space you're in, whatever marketing you're doing, whatever it is. We started making videos, and some of my first videos were like these long, you know, like 4.5 minutes. They were awesome though, like high quality. We're using, you know, we're here in a studio, the marketing company here. We're using Red cameras. You guys know what that means. Like, we're using these awesome cameras. Like, all my guys were like just bringing all this super cool stuff. And I was like, man, why are these videos only getting like 800 views? Like, what is up with this? You know, I'm making great videos here, you know, like, I'm like really thinking I'm doing something great. And then it's like, yeah, there's more to it than just that though. There's reels. Now there's all these other things that came out after that were like, hey, people don't care about your great quality video. Quality matters,
right,
but what they want is something they can take in 30 seconds, you know, or less. And that wasn't creating that space. It was creating long form content, which still has its place, but it wasn't the way I was trying to do it. So I had to continue to learn. I'm still continuing to learn. Now you see all these videos where the houses are slamming down on the thing and the smoke's coming up and the transitions are crazy. And so I'm like, all right, we got to start changing our editing style. So we started changing our editing style to be more of those. And I mean, there's never a finishing point to marketing or to sales or to anything. There's just waking up and going, is there something new I need to try? Is there something different, while consistently doing something? And that's been the key.
And it's funny. Those are some great points. And it's funny, it's almost like a pendulum that once it swings too far, like, so there for a while, the Mr. Beast style edits and the graphics and the colors and all that was like the trend, right? And everyone was doing it. And I've noticed a swing back to just old school, hey, I'm presenting something on pen and paper or whiteboard or just basic style. And that's crushing it now because I think people just get too oversaturated so fast. And so that, to your point, like, yeah, the house slamming and all that, that's probably going to be a thing for a while. And then people will get tired of it.
Oh, for sure.
And they'll swing back to the way it was before or whatever it is. And so but the video, and I'm guilty of it too. And you probably are. Well, I already know you are because you mentioned how many views you got. The vanity metrics, no matter how many people say, oh, I don't care. You care. You're checking, you post something, you check an hour later. How many comments did I get? How many views I got? But I will say, it's really, really weird with video content in particular. I'll post a video that I think is like, I was like, this video is the best. And it really is, in my opinion. No comments, 500 views, 50 views, whatever it is. But the weird thing about this is the number of times that people, whether it's a month down the road, 6 months down the road, whatever it is, they reach out to me eventually because when they're ready to purchase or whatever, they're like, oh, dude, I love your videos. I love that one on XYZ or whatever. I'm like, and I'm like, you never even engage.
Not at all.
With me. You never comment, you never like, but they're consuming your material. So the takeaway to this is you never know who's watching. And just because they don't engage with your stuff or comment or whatever doesn't mean they're not sitting there keeping you top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've got stories like this as well.
Yeah, my biggest perspective change that I encourage people with is because most people, and you even see these pop up where it's like you're getting stuck in 300 jail, like where it's like, man, I got 300 views on my video, whatever. It happens to people all the time. It's kind of the common number for some reason, like 300 views. My big perception change is if I can get in front of people and I can talk to them, it's a win, right? So if I can go and invite people into my house, like you got a house, you're there, and you have a audience that is watching you and listening to you, and let's say there's 20 people, that's great, right?
Yeah.
If there's 20 people that saw me talk, that's great. Now put 100 people in your living room. Like literally I want everybody to picture your living room and picture 100 people in your living room. There's not enough room in your living room. There's not enough parking in your driveway. There's not anything. Now times that times 3 and put 300 people. You will not be able to fit them. And to have an audience of 300 people every single day is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's a big shift in our mind because we're used to just scrolling. Oh, 1 million views there, 100,000 views there, on all these people's videos.
Yeah.
But there's also the other videos that just Joe Schmo down the street saw that is yours, that has these little clips and views and all that kind of stuff. And that's the biggest thing that, like, for me, when teaching people the value of video is, I made the comment earlier about 800 views or whatever. That's just because I'm in the details and the numbers and the nitty gritty.
Which is good. That you need to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather have 800 people in my living room than 300 people.
Yeah.
So it'd be great. But still, if you have that mindset of like, I talked to 300 people today, that's crazy. I mean, that's a whole different mindset shift that we can do that. And so, you want to keep getting better to where you're not stuck in 300 land, you're stuck in 1,000 land, or you're stuck in 3,000 land, or whatever it might be, or find other ways to get, my new recent plug, and I'll just share it. I don't care. I'm always an open book. Dream Homes Texas. It's a Instagram page. It's awesome. They post dream homes and stuff. And I start seeing all these homes, and one day I just reached out and I just sent him a DM, and I was like, man, I see this Dream Homes Texas thing. Like, how are these people? Are you just picking houses and putting them on there? Are people paying for this? Like, how does this work? Guy's like, man, $75 a post, and I post your home on here, and I'll collaborate with you. Dude, every time I post on there, I get 10,000 views every time. And it's $75 for 10,000 views that are real people that follow this Dream Homes deal. And so then I started working out a deal with him where I'm like, I'm just paying him monthly, and I have like a certain amount of views or videos that I get to post. And if you look at my Instagram now compared to what it was, I get a whole lot more views, a whole lot more followers, all this stuff for super. I mean, like when you think about marketing stuff, like there's nothing else I can pay right now that I can think of that I can get 10,000 views for $75 that are a real audience that wants to look at this,
Dude, I mean, hell, you got a large family. You spend more than that at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, golly, yeah, absolutely.
Shout out Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, the cost per impression or whatever metric you want to, I mean, that's wild.
Absolutely.
That is wild. Yeah, man. Instagram, that's one of the things where I slept on for a while.
Yep.
I don't know why. I just got on it like a few months ago.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
It's a different, I built my business primarily through Facebook. I know they kind of like, bro, you're a boomer or whatever. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, kind of am. My target audience is kind of like the 30 to 50-year-old, and we grew up like on that. So, and so I was like, and JD, the guy I was talking about earlier, he's like, man, you got to get on Instagram. So I got on Instagram. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a different style of posting. But I think, dude, you're already going through the process of making content. No, I'm not saying that you should be on every single platform because I do think that your time's better, probably maybe 1, 2, or 3 and just dominate those. Don't try to be the jack of all trades. But for those that are out there, they're like, oh, I'm just going to pick one platform. I don't know if that's the smartest move. I think you kind of need to diversify.
I agree with that.
Which platform do you see the most success with? Which one do you enjoy being on the most?
Facebook is my most successful.
Okay, me too.
currently, and it's just I got the most followers on it. I got the biggest audience on that one. Like just all of that, and it's the most like actual people that are near me, around me. You know, it's more your friends. I mean, like
Yeah.
like truly like people that you've come in contact with, and I started this a long time ago. My wife laughs at me. She's always like, "You're hilarious," but like if I meet somebody, I add them on Facebook. Like it's just
Yeah.
like boom, I'm adding you on Facebook. Like it's interesting because they got the cap at 5,000. Your 5,000 friends,
Yep.
and so I have to go back and be like, okay, who do I not ever interact with? Because you can look up by least interacted with. Have to delete them. Have to add a person. You know, it's kind of annoying right now. I wish they would change that, but
Why, Zuckerberg? I know you're watching. You're probably one of our subscribers.
Absolutely you're
Why
watching.
do you limit that? I mean, obviously, you can have more followers if you have the professional account,
Yep.
but your friends are capped at 5,000, which does not make sense.
Zuck, I don't know, dude. You gotta come on, fix this.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They don't limit you on Instagram.
they don't.
You know,
I know.
so it's the
They
same
don't- yeah.
company. So that's interesting that they limit you on one,
Yeah.
but they don't limit you on the other.
Yeah, but Facebook, the whole man, it's the constant like you're never done learning. You're never like it's just, especially in this world with AI coming out, all that. I'm wondering what's going to happen with social media and AI as well because things are just. So I got a group, Small Town Granbury. That's the name of the group. There's like 16,000 people on it. You know, I own the group, and I don't know what button I pressed or something, but I mean I'm pretty technologically, I can't say the word. Technologically, is that the word? Savvy, whatever.
I understood you. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
But somehow some AI thing got turned on, and it asks questions every day. So it's like about Granbury. So it's like it yesterday it asked a question about like what's been the toughest part of your move to Granbury or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I literally was like, who keeps asking all these questions? And because it said Granby is what it said, like Granby
Oh, okay.
guide is what it said or something. And it's like some AI picture or whatever. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, this is built into the page that the group that I own. And so it was really interesting that it was like leading the charge, and people are answering it like it's a person. They're like, "Oh, this was my hardest part. If you're having a hard time, you should talk to so and so." And I'm like, "This isn't a real person." Like, and then you got other people that are like, "This is an AI. I'm not answering this question." You know, they're just like, "You guys." But it's just interesting to see where social media is going, what the differences are. So, like for me, Facebook is my number one. I mean, I gotta
You're right.
post on there if I'm doing a listing or videos or whatever. It's got to go on there for sure. Instagram, I'm a little more choosy about what I put on there, and then TikTok, I'm all over the place. I don't know what to put. I love TikTok. TikTok is my favorite to take in, to digest. It is my news outlet. It's the one that I'm on the most for sure. But posting, it's like I can't do a house video for 30 seconds. No one cares. Like
Yeah.
literally, it's like no one cares on TikTok because I don't care. All I do is like if I'm getting ready in the mornings or I'm doing whatever, I'm looking for like the ones that are like 3 or 4 minutes where it's some story about something or somebody
yeah.
talking or whatever. Those are the ones that I just stop on while I'm doing something. And so like just these last couple of posts, I know it's kind of weird, but like I went to Walmart for the first time in maybe a year the other day, and it was, I don't know, I'm in a different, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a different country. I don't know what's happening, but like I'm in there, people are yelling, this child was screaming the entire time I was in there. I mean the whole time, like just at the top of her lungs. This one guy comes over while I'm checking out, and he's talking about demons, and I go to as soon as I get there, somebody's flipping somebody off in the parking lot. I'm like, dude, this is why I don't come
It's
here.
just a typical Tuesday at
It's
Walmart.
crazy. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, so I was just like, you know what? This is what I like to listen to on TikTok. So I just was like, I'm just gonna make a video about Walmart on TikTok. I've got 800 followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
No, it's just my least because I don't know what to do. You know, I'm like I haven't figured out the real estate thing on there. 14,000 views on my Walmart video, at least as of yesterday. And that's what so I'm like, I got to figure this out. Like, how can I just be myself? Because I'm just being fun, just talking funny about Walmart or whatever. But it's connecting with people. Like, people are like, yeah, me too. Like, me too with Walmart. I had the same experience. I hate that place. Whatever it is.
Right.
But we have to go there because it's the only place that has this stuff. And so, like, that's the kind of thing that I'm still trying to figure out. Is like, what do I do on these different platforms? I know how to do Facebook. That's
Right.
easy.
Yep.
That's the easy one. Instagram, I'm kind of figuring it out a little bit, with the help of like some other pages like this Dream Homes Texas and stuff like that. But TikTok, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
I have a TikTok account. I'm similar to you.
Mm-hmm.
I post on there a few times, and now I've kind of just consume rather
Yep.
than post. But yeah, you're right. That is, in my opinion, the hardest one to
Mm-hmm.
figure out as far as it being like worth your time.
Yep.
Now, if you just want to go on there and get entertained or just
Yeah.
whatever, that's fine. I mean, heck, that's the whole reason why people go on YouTube, which I am going to take more serious
Mm-hmm.
by far. That's my next big push
Yep.
is YouTube, because people go on there to either learn something
Mm-hmm.
or be entertained.
That's me. Learning YouTube I basically have my whole feed set to this, like podcasts that come up. That's like, literally the last probably 2 weeks I've listened to 15 AI podcasts or, training, teachings, whatever it is. And just go on YouTube and I click on whatever pops up first.
Yeah, and it's wild how good the algorithm is.
Wild. Yeah.
I do the same thing in the morning. I have a little home gym in our garage, and rather than listen to music, I just turn on YouTube, see whatever video I'm like,
Yep.
and then just listen to that while working out. And a lot of it's podcast. Diary of a CEO is like one of the kind of inspirations for this podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fascinating. You learn so much.
You do.
You learn so much. And so with that though, so where do you kind of set you have a larger family than me. I have 2 boys, and I already, between businesses and family and sports and schools and running multiple businesses like you are, obviously there's always something to do.
Yep.
Always. And so that was one of the hardest things for me, especially since I work from home. I have an office, but I'm always at home.
Yeah.
Where do you set the boundary?
Yep.
Like what does that look like for you?
Yeah. So for me, I knew immediately my gig was not driving buyers around on the weekends and trying to find a home,
Right.
Taking all day, taking 3 days, taking 3 months, whatever that is. I knew after the second or third time I did that, I was like, this isn't sustainable.
No.
It's not sustainable for my family, my situation. I mean, nothing. It's just not, this is not sustainable. So I knew that like I had to go heavy on the listings and that kind of stuff. And so for me, the good part is with listings, most of the people, I've only had a few that like aren't available for at minimum a Zoom call or something. I've got some pretty good processes down to where
Right.
I meet with these people once. I give them, video CMAs. I'm even doing like AI stuff to give them their, numbers on the houses they should look at or different things like that. And so, like, just being able to do that kind of stuff has been really helpful. But I just don't spend a lot of time outside of during the work hours working on real estate. If I do, it's our family is just set up in a way that's like, the best way to explain it is like the work-life balance thing that people bring up often. I don't. When you own your own business, I don't know that there is a work-life balance.
It's bullshit.
It's a life balance. Like,
Yeah.
like how am I balancing the life part of it? Because I can get wrapped up into anything. But I love it. I'm not a guy who's like, man, I need a nap. I'm gonna go take a nap. Like, you ain't catching me taking a nap. Like I'd rather be working on something. Or if I'm watching something on Netflix, I'm probably on my computer at the same time. Like just just doing the thing like that. But I basically don't. I at some point at nighttime, 5-6 o'clock, I'm able to turn it off because I'm focusing on the part that I know is sustainable for our family, and that's during the day as
Right.
much as possible. Very rarely on weekends do I have something. I mean, very rarely, because I would rather take a cut in the pay on the weekend and give that as a referral to another agent on our team than go drive around and do all that. Just because, the best, I keep saying the best. It's not the best. One of the best things I ever learned was to truly value your time, like all the way down to the dollar. Like, how much is your time worth? And the best way to do it, you find out how much do you want to make a year? Let's start there. Then divide that down all the way down to what does that mean hourly. So whatever that number is, for some people it might be $100 an hour. For some people it might be $5,000 an hour. I mean, what's your goal? What's your dreams? What's your aspirations? And when you do that and you get down to like, okay, if I want to make that much money, like I have to be serious about my hour and what that hour is valued at. Man, that's a big deal when you're looking at okay, yeah, I'll go show you this house, whatever. When I know you're probably not going to buy it,
You've already
'cause
told me you're not
you
going
already
to.
told
Yeah.
you just want to go check it out, whatever it is, and you look at that and you go, man, that's an expensive hour. That's a
Hmm.
real expensive hour right there. And then if you can just look at that and go, or I could just spend 5 minutes calling another agent, give them the referral. If it works out, great. I get paid something on the back end, and I
Yeah.
made more than what I was going to make in that
Yeah,
one
and you're
hour.
still helping them out too,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
I agree. And so that makes it a lot easier for when you get those. Hey, can I take you to coffee? You're like,
Yep.
well, my
Yep.
time is worth it. Nope, you
Yeah.
cannot. So it makes it a
Yeah.
little easier. Yeah. But I have found that too, especially on the mortgage side, because
Mhm.
I get it. Especially loan officers starting out, they try to take on any business they can because
Yep.
they trying to grow their business. They got to make money. I get it.
Right.
But man, you're doing yourself a disservice. Like
Mhm.
if a certain loan type or certain scenario comes in that I'm not an expert on or I don't feel comfortable on, I don't
Yep.
take it on
Yeah.
because it's setting the buyer up for failure, setting me up, setting you up if you're the agent, like where it's just a horrible experience. But I have people on my team
Right.
that know that, and so I just pass it on to them. I'm like, "Dude, this is yours."
Yep.
Like I know my target segment, and I'm not getting out of it.
Yeah.
And so I've started to do that on weekends as well, is protect family time.
Mhm.
And so I get it. This is not a diss at the loan officers that take any phone call. Call me 24/7.
Yeah.
I tell my clients, like, if they call me at 6 o'clock or whatever, evening, 7 o'clock, I text them back. I'm like, dude, I'll see you in the morning.
Yep. Yep.
Like, there's nothing that important
Mhm.
right now, unless you're closing, tomorrow morning or something. And we like that's a one-off scenario.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I have found that, especially on the weekends, that if like say it's a brand new person, they reach out to you and they're like, hey man, I need a pre-approval.
Like, yeah, nah.
Mm-mm. They will leave you in a heartbeat. They're just looking for a piece of paper, and they're not. And so, if one of my existing clients reaches out and they're already pre-approved, and like,
Yeah.
hey, I need you to modify the pre-approval letter to match this, that's easy.
Sure.
That takes 30 seconds.
Yep.
But if you want to do a full-on application on Saturday night at 9:30 when I'm at a party, trust me, I've been in this scenario where I literally tell my wife, hey, I gotta go do this pre-approval. And then did that client stay with me? Hell
Yep.
no, they didn't. They left me for one guy down the road is $50 or less. So, so I just don't take those on anymore.
Yeah, for sure. That protecting your time. So yeah. I mean, to answer your question overall, is I do know what my time's worth, and that, man, it's a hard balance because that's what I was trying to say earlier. Is like with the coffee thing, it's like it's a hard balance because you don't want to come off as a jerk or as pretentious or as like, who do you think you are? Your time's more. But I'm not saying my time's more valuable than someone else's. I'm just saying I know what my time's worth, and there are certain things that are not. It's not worth it. I mean, literally, it's the one commodity that you don't have more. You can't.
Yeah.
They're not making more of it.
And most people like understand that too. And I found maybe I'm a little bit more too transparent with people, and it sounds like
Yeah.
you might be too. Like, we're in the wholesale lending side, so like account executives, AEs will call me like, hey, I'm with XYZ company. We're not partnered with your company yet. Do you want to? And I'll just tell them, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
I'm never going to
make
send.
sense.
No, like you're not in my target segment. Like you're non-QM this, or like I'm never going to use you. It's just going to be a time suck for you. It's going to be a time suck for me. Like I'm just want to be up front with you right now.
Yep.
That this is not going to work.
Yep.
And most of them, they're like,
Thanks, man.
hey man, I appreciate that, because
for sure.
they don't want their time wasted either.
Absolutely.
So they're like, dude, thank you for like being real with me.
Yep. Yep.
And so the ones that actually take offense to that, well then
Probably not your people you
probably
want
not the person you want to partner with anyways.
Yeah.
And so because at the end of the day, and people are so right, you've heard this before, like, hey, 30 years from now, 40 years, 50 years from now, whenever our times come, right? Are you going to look back and be like, man, I'm so glad I sold 500 listings
Yep.
or 1,000 listings? Or are you going to be like, I really appreciate the time I spent with my family?
Yeah.
Like, and what are they going to, your kids are not going to remember how many listings you had. They're going
Right.
to remember the time that you spent with them. And so that is so hard as you're trying to grow your business,
Yeah.
grow multiple businesses. That for me, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Is like trying to like completely segment that and just like when's it enough? When is it time to walk away?
Yep.
And so I've definitely, especially in the weekday evenings and on weekends, I'm like, nope, I don't care. And if I lose a client because of it, well, then I lose a client.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's certain times where, obviously it makes sense to take this one or that one. And
Yeah,
you do
they're
this,
one-offs,
You do
yeah.
that, and or you got these. For me, I got builders that I work with or whatever, and I mean, if a deal's if a that's the hard part with us is like on the weekends if I get an offer, I mean I gotta do something with that. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's
I can't
different.
just
Yeah.
I can't just
Yeah.
sit back and not do it. But that's why I do the listing side because I can also choose to not leave the house yesterday and
Right.
just work from home and just do my thing at home or just stop working in the middle of the day because it's just working for my schedules. I mean, there's that's really the work life balance for me is just I will keep control of my schedule. That's the biggest thing is I know lots of people that their calendar runs their day and mine does too to an extent of like I know what I've got at what time, I got to be here at this time, but I won't book a full day solid. I just won't do it. I've got to have these times in between to take phone calls, emails, so I don't get behind to where I feel like I have to be working all weekend.
Yep.
And so it's a lot of it is just discipline in that as well of like someone calling like, hey, can you meet with me on Thursday at 10 o'clock? I was like, I can, but let's move it to Friday at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
because I need to protect that time, like whatever that might
Yeah.
be. So, you know,
Everyone's different with their time. I think if you're listening to this, you need to have some type of time window, which is your power hours. Some people are night owls and they like to stay up late.
Yep.
I'm the complete opposite. I like to go to bed early. But from like 4 a.m. to 7 a.m., those are my power hours.
4 a.m. I didn't even know they made it a 4 a.m.
It's on your watch.
I didn't know that one existed.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
obviously, if I'm going to bed at midnight, that's going to be tougher. But I'm not going to bed at midnight. But you know what's beautiful about 4 a.m. other than it's completely dark and quiet outside?
No one's calling you.
There's nobody calling you. There's no appraisers. There's no title agents. There's no buyers. There's nobody. My kids aren't up. My wife's still asleep. Like nobody's messing with me. That is your time.
Yep.
And so that is where I feel I'm most creative. That's where I do research. That's where I lay out marketing ideas or video ideas, or it's when I record my videos.
Yep. God, I would love to do that. I would love.
Well, what's stopping you?
I know. I've had this thing before. I did I read this whole thing on the Power of 5 a.m. It was like this whole. It wasn't a book. It was something I was doing. But anyway, it was basically like the average American wakes up at 7, and if you can wake up at 5 a.m. That's 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day over a year's period. Turns out to be a whole month. So you gain a month. You have a 13th month that no one else has, or other people don't. The average American doesn't have. If you can wake up at 5 a.m. and do 5 to 7, and I'm like, I'd rather do 5 to 7 p.m. Like I don't know, man. Like it's been interesting because I'm trying to. I'm working out more. I'm trying to get a little more scheduled, but my workout time's like 4 p.m. Like I know it's so hard
Dude,
for a
that's
lot
like
of people.
peak craziness hour.
I know.
Kids
For
are out
me-
of school, going to sport. Like,
It's the ideal time for me and how we work at like just how our family is and everything. And so I don't know, that 5 a.m. I would love to do it. I think the way our schedule works with our family, it's like we all stay up pretty late, and so it just makes it hard. And if I were to want to go to bed early, then I'd miss out on that time. And so it's just kind of like it's what's worked out.
there's definitely certain times where we have a guest bedroom and I'm wanting to go to bed early. My wife's not. She's like,
Not happening.
you're going in there. You want to go sleep early? Your ass can go in there. And I'm like,
Yep.
okay, fair enough. But I mean, just think about it. To our point earlier about the power of social media and video and how you've landed great opportunities, and I have too, just because of some of the content we produce. So think about if you woke up an hour early, you can knock out an entire marketing concept or video in an hour.
Yep.
What if you did that 5 days a week? And had 5 extra things out, and you just do that and have that discipline, and that started compounding, the amount of opportunities that's going to open up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the dangerous though is like, well, where do you stop? Do you go to 4 a.m.? Do you go to 3 a.m.? Do you go to 2 a.m.? Like, where do you stop?
Right.
But that's so during that 4 to 7 is my workout time, and then also my creativity time.
Yep.
Or any important task that has to be done that day, especially if it's painful and you don't want to do it. I knock it out
So great
first.
to be done that early. Yeah.
Because if I don't knock it out first, I'm going to be thinking about that thing all dang day. I'm like, I got to do this thing. I got to do this dang pre-approval, and this buyer's a jerk.
Yep.
They won't send me their document, whatever it is. If you can knock that out first and get it out of the way. So
That's great, man.
because the rest of the day, as you know, you can try to schedule stuff, but you're reactive. You can't control when people are going to call you. You can't control if something goes sideways with a purchase or whatever. So you got to have all that stuff already knocked out, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, for sure. That reactiveness, I had to get control of that, because definitely when I started real estate, I was like, man, this you are reacting to everything. It's
Yeah.
like you're getting an offer coming in, you're getting a phone call coming in. Can you go show me this? Can you, and it's just like, oh, yep, I can yep, got to do it, and speed is one of my like highest most important things is speed, because I know so many people who are not fast when they're trying to like get something done, and I mean it's time kills deals for sure. I mean, like that's just period. It is what it is. But just I think figuring out processes to respond or fast ways to do things, like that, to me that's been the number one thing apart from marketing is how can I figure out better ways to do this? How can I have better systems? How can I just do all that kind of stuff?
That systems is the backbone of any top producer, high performing, whatever.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm trying to work on next is, and it's really just hiring the right people, whether it's transaction coordinators, whether it's production managers, whether it's assistants, whatever. Is like, dude, yeah, it's scary. Now you're bringing on more salary, you're bringing on more expenses. But if I truly want to free up my time and not care if there's a fire that happens in the afternoon and we have to react to it,
yep.
It's not just on me now. Like previously it was just on Eric or just on Jay.
Yep.
But what if I have a whole team behind me that this is their job, because they realize that our best use of our time is doing things like this. And for you to go have your meetings, for you to go make your content, to go shoot your listing video, for me to do that stuff. That's what, because I am a loan originator.
Right.
I'm supposed to originate business.
Yep.
I'm not supposed to manage a pipeline and processors and all this stuff. And so that is the trap.
Yep.
That is the trap, because you're like, well, I'll just do it myself because I don't want to hire a person, because it takes time and money to hire people.
Yeah, and I think I love making up percentages. I think 95% of people are stuck in that, especially in our industry, because that is the most agents. I mean, the average agent does like 9 deals a year or something. I mean, it's getting worse.
You tell me, yeah. That seems pretty good.
It's getting worse for that, and so like, but they feel like I talk to those agents all the time, and they feel like they are so busy, so slammed, and I'm just over here like, if I only did 9 deals, I would be so mad at like I would be like twiddling my thumbs, because I started with a transaction coordinator. I know immediately paperwork is not my thing. Not even connecting this and uploading that and making sure this document's here. All that, yes, it's a part of real estate, but for some reason, a lot of agents feel like that is they're bringing themselves and their clients value if they're filling out forms. And it's like, well, this is part of the gig, like I had one agent one time, she could not get over, she had been an agent for quite a while. She could not get over the fact that I had not written my own contract. Like, she couldn't do it. She was like, I just can't believe you've now I know every blank, I know every paragraph, I know everything in there. I just don't physically take my fingers and hit the.
Yeah.
This is how I type. So I just physically don't do that, And so she was so like, what do you mean you don't do that? And I'm like, what good is that doing to my clients, myself, my marketing, my future, anything, by being the one who types in words? As long as I review it before it gets sent, and as long as I review it when it gets sent back, what does it matter, And I truly believe that's how people get stuck. Like, they get stuck because their systems are just out of whack, maybe based on personal pride or something. Because I tell you, that's the number one thing I hear with real estate agents that get stuck in that, is that like, oh, I have to do my own contracts. I have to be able to, make sure it's da 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 da. And I'm like, you can make sure by reading it when it comes back to you, And so, like, to me, it's so freeing to be. I mean, my process is literally, if I'm working with a buyer, which is rare, but if I work with a buyer and they're like, hey, we want to put an offer on this house, I'm like, great. I'm going to text you the highlights of what goes into an offer. And I text every single blank that would be there. Here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. Text it over to them. And then I call them. Hey, I want to go over this with you. Does this look good? Here's what this means. Here's what this means. Here's what this means. Here's where we're at. Here's
Yep.
what my suggestion. Boom. And then it comes back to me, and I just copy, paste that text to my transaction coordinator. I'm out. See y'all whenever we're in the option period. Like, that's, I mean, that kind of thing, because I don't need to be a part of any of the paperwork side.
Yeah.
So those systems are so important, and there's no way you can be a top producer without having them. There's just no way.
No. And that's any industry. I don't care who, what, if you don't have a system and a team behind you, you're going to plateau.
Absolutely.
Eventually you're going to plateau.
Yeah.
And so, well, let's wrap up here. So if anybody, let's say there's a new agent and they're like, dude, I get it, but I don't even have enough transactions to justify a transaction coordinator because I don't have any transactions.
Yep.
Like, what would you say to them? Like somebody in 2025, in this current market, in this current game,
Yep.
what is your kind of tips for them?
So here's what I would be doing. You might not even know this. I've only been in real estate 3 years, not even 3 years. So I've only been an agent for that long. Did $34 million last year, $22 million a year before that, $11 million a year before that. Not normal. It's not a normal thing. I get it.
Yep.
But you have the ability to do everything that I'm doing. Everybody does. It's just a matter of the consistency in which you're going to do it, the systems that you set up in order to keep that consistency, and how effective and efficient you can be in this industry by learning things like negotiating, things like sales, all that kind of stuff. And so the big part of this for me has been, what do you do at the beginning? Like, what do you do when you first start? When I first started real estate, I remember I was like, oh, I'm going to crush this industry. It's going to be incredible. Like, I'm going to do awesome. And I was like, I'll have a client in 5 days. You watch this. Nope. Sure did not have a client in 5 days. I get all the way to day, it was like 87, somewhere in there. And I go to my broker and I'm like, Pamela, I thought I was going to be able to like really crush this. And I'm spending a lot of time and a lot of money. Right out of the gates, I'm not even a billboard guy, but I got 5 billboards right out of the gates. I was like, I'm signing this contract in faith that I will sell enough to pay for it, because it was like $22,000, for these 5 billboards for the year. In our small town, that's pretty cheap depending on where you're at. But it was expensive there, And so I get these billboards, and I'm like they say stupid stuff, like not your typical realtor. And it's like a picture of me like sitting there with my Jordans on, with my tattoos showing. And I'm just like, I'm just going to be different. I don't know.
You just started too, right? In the industry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, of course you're not my typical realtor.
Yeah, that's right. I'm like, I'm not your typical realtor, man, And so then I'm like, doing all this. I'm trying everything I can. I make this video where it's like real high quality, and I'm being funny. I'm like, I'm standing on this $2 million house that there's no way I'd have been able to afford. And I'm acting like it's my house. I'm like, hey guys, I'm new to real estate. I want to welcome you to my home. Da da da. And then there's this guy outside, and he's like beating on the door. He's like, get out of my house, Anyway, so I'm like, I'm like trying to be funny, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna crush this. It's gonna be incredible. Day 87, I got nothing. Like no clients, no. But every day, every single day, I'm asking other agents, can I post your listing on social media? Would you mind? Can I either go film a video at your house? Can I use your pictures? Can I do you mind if I share, your stuff? And I'll obviously give you credit. The listing agent is this person, yada, yada, yada. But I would love to go show you this home, because I know that content is king. And if I can use content with other people's products, I can figure this out all the time. I mean, when I say all the time, I mean like 5 times a day, not over exaggerating. People are like, dude, the way you're crushing it in real estate is incredible. And I'm like, I don't have a freaking client. Not one single client. But people, the perception is that like, I am Mr. Real Estate, but I'm over here just like, but day 87, I'm like, man, I'm getting tired of this. This is not working. My broker, Pamela, who is incredible, she says, Eric, you're doing everything right. I promise if you'll just keep going, you're right there. Like you will have a client. Just give it 90 days. She said 90 days, and I'm like, day 87.
You're like, oh, I got 3 more
I'm
days.
almost there. Day 91, I get a phone call. hey, we want to go buy this house. Can you come show it to us? Would love to. $197,000.
Hey.
I was like, I got one.
I got
I got one. And you better believe I contented the crap out of that house. Of like, and it wasn't my listing. They were buying it.
Right.
But I'm like, showing this house today, you know, making all these videos on my phone, doing everything I can. And it was just like, oh, 3 days later, oh, here's somebody else. Hey, we want to go look at this house. Oh, a couple of days later, can you list our house? A couple of days later, that builder calls me like, hey, we're going to be doing this development.
So the first one hasn't even closed yet, probably.
Nope.
And they're starting to come
That's when
in.
they start coming. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is wild.
It was wild, but it was just because people saw that I was doing real estate, like in whatever way it is. And there's ways like there were some real estate agents that I called, and they were like, "You absolutely cannot share my listings," and I'm like, "Wow,
How dare you?
no!" I'm like, "Oh, I'm so offended." But what bothered me about it was that like it's like, man, you have someone who's willing to share with their platform
Yep.
a house that you have for sale. Wouldn't that be the best thing for your clients if that house gets showed to more people? And all I'm trying to do is bring a buyer. Like I'm very clear that I am not the listing agent. Like this is not my listing. I want to take someone to go see it, you know, and it's funny cuz like all those people are the one they don't do very much business. And it's like there's so much protection of like, this is mine and you know, whatever in this industry. And it's like, guys, if you will just realize how much business is out there,
There's no way that you're going to have 100% market share or anywhere close to it.
Not even close.
Not,
Like,
not even remotely close.
Literally in Hood County, I think the county that I live in, there's 900 real estate agents, something like that, in the small little town of Granbury. I mean, there's 900. And the last time I looked at sales a couple of weeks ago, like I think I had like 4% of the market share. Like I'm in the top 3, but that's like 4% is in the top 3. It's like, what? How does that? There's so many houses that get sold. So many. Like down there, just onesie twosies all the way down. And so like, yeah, there's business for everybody. And there's a lot. And it's just, to me, it's one of those, what you put in the world, you'll get back. You know, I mean, like just put good things out there, put good vibes out there. That's why I have Vibe Realty.
I love it.
You know, like we really wanted to bring a new vibe to real estate. That's why I called it that. And man, I really think that if you do that and like you are consistent and you set up systems from the get-go, that very first deal, I reached out to someone and said, hey, can I pay you to write this contract? I'm new to this. Like, can I pay you to do it? Absolutely. You know, and so that's what I've done ever since then. I have a transaction coordinator that I pay her per transaction. It's not a monthly cost. It's not it doesn't cost me anything if we're not doing any deals. And she's incredible. She doesn't mind it being a Saturday at 6 p.m. and I say, hey, can you send over this contract? We got an offer. And it's just a text message for me, and it's like an hour and a half for her, but she doesn't mind it. She likes it because she's getting paid to do it. So there's so many ways to make this work, but consistency, going back to how we started this whole thing, consistency, systems, creativity, you know, those are the things, but creativity even is one of the lower, you know, of those. If you can just do it and do it well over and over and over, that's what's going to sell it for you.
Yeah, it goes back to the way we started this. At the pillar of your business, no matter what it is that you're doing, is consistent marketing.
Yep, absolutely.
And you're going to dominate, and you're going to eventually win.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great thing to end on.
Yeah,
Eric,
for sure.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. It's fun to be here.
All right.